I guess we're live.
Boom, and we're live. So come on, Rich. Well, just before we were going live, we were talking about your project. So while I'm getting the screen share, Rich, you just want to start talking about it.
Sure. So when we first started talking about SafeCoin Magazine, the idea occurred to me while I was driving. I was like, this is a good time to start aggregating the core information about what SafeCoin is, how it can be used, the players creating it and developing around it. And that idea occurred to me last summer, and so it's been on the back burner of my mind for a good while. And I'm not a writer, I'm not an editor, but I want to see this thing created. So I put it out there to the community, and I know there are going to be people who put the fire under my feet to say, hey, what are you doing with this project now? Well, it occurred to me, with the idea of smart contracts coming along and the ability to create tokens so easily and assets, that a publication that is built on top of a new protocol would be a really awesome way to turn out Made Safe magazine, or not Made Safe magazine, SafeCoin magazine. So the idea that I had, that you have up on the screen, is pretty simple. So it starts off with, where does the publication get its income? And as with many things, oh, I think you changed your...
Oh, sorry, dude, man. Sorry, dude. I don't know what's going on.
That's okay.
Go on, sorry.
Okay, so now I don't know if when I'm talking, if my face comes up or if what you put up there overrides it. I'm hoping it overrides my face. So anyway, the idea is that the publication income would come from the purchase of publication tokens, which can be used for several different things. It could be used to tip the editors. It could be used to access special content, so on and so forth. It would come from donations and tips, and as well as promoted content, aka advertisement. So that would be the publication income. And that publication income would go directly into a treasury contract, which would be a smart contract, which would automatically allocate a percentage to the content creators and editors, a percentage to the app developer for app maintenance, and a percentage to a locked purse. And that locked purse is important. That would be for future projects. And that locked purse could only be unlocked by the top 10 editors. So to go back to the content creators and editors, they would be paid a % of the net profit, as well as contribution tokens. And the reason why it's important to also pay in contribution tokens is that net % is paid out according to how many of those contribution tokens you've earned through being a part of that creative process as an editor or as a content creator. So the idea is that a percentage of net received is based on the percentage of contribution tokens held by the contributor. So it's in a contributor's best interest to hold on to all of those tokens. They could turn around and sell them on the open market or trade them if they want, but if they plan on continuing to contribute, they would want to hold on to them, because that would mean that's a bigger percentage of the net that they would take every time the publication earns. And as far as the top 10 editors, there needs to be qualifiers to be a top 10 editor, because they have the important responsibility of being able to unlock the purse. So the idea for to be a top 10 editor qualifier, the first one, regular editorial contributions, which would also mean you're earning contribution tokens and also earning a net of the profit. You'd also you need to be a regular attender and participator of the benchmark meetings. And of course, like I said, the benchmark meetings would be for deciding the direction of the magazine. Like, say, for example, there is an important conference coming up and you want to send somebody or somehow access, let's just say, do interviews, like say pay somebody to go do interviews, whatever the case is, whatever that it will be decided on by the editors. And then also in here, I put hold no less than 1% of contribution tokens. And to me, that's an important part, because there has to be a way to decide who is the editor. And I think if it came down to it and you had 20 people contributing regularly to a magazine, and they were all participating in benchmark meetings, then you still have to decide how do you decide which of the top 10 are able to unlock the locked purse. And I think that could be done by the percentage they hold in contribution tokens. So this is a rough sketch. This is just an idea I had a few days ago, and sketched it out, and then decided, okay, I'll make a little graphic to kind of make it a little easier to understand. I ultimately, the most important part of this is the app developer to create something that is usable by everybody. So, you know, it has to have a nice user interface, and the ability to, well, they have to have tokens created and so on. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about it right now. I want to sit down with a few people and go over what it would take to have like a MVP on this idea. And so what are your thoughts on it? I mean, you want to look over it again before you comment on it? Does it seem obvious?
My initial thought, Rich, and which is, you know, it bears in sight mind, we've had this discussion before when we talked about it, is the editors. And you mentioned then about how, you know, the 10 editors. I think it's crucial that at some point you make your vision the most important thing. So those editors cannot go against the vision of the project, because we talked about this before about how, you know, you can have 6 editors decide they want to go to one direction and it's away from the original vision. So is that something you're hoping your stamp into the actual project, and this is the vision and nothing in which you could do through the voting app that Daniel's built, that you say this can never go against the core vision? Is that something you thought about?
It is. And one of the things I was thinking about is, okay, so initially I was thinking, as the editors decide what the direction is going to be of the magazine, now when it comes to the locked person unlocking funds, that it's really important that they share the vision, which is part of attending being an attendee and participating in the benchmark meetings. And I think if everybody's on the same page, you know, there's leaders rise, they just come around, right? Whenever you have a group of people, there's always going to be an alpha. There's always going to be that person that kind of spearheads and says, you know what, let's go this direction. And if there's a bifurcation, if there's a split, you know, this isn't all open source. Fork it, go do your own thing. But you know, that, like I'm saying, if 60% want to go this way and 40% the other, well, then it gets split. But the idea is that you can't, the majority would hold the ability to unlock the purse. And in the case where you had 10 editors or 10 people holding the key to unlock the purse, there would also be built into the system a time lock. So let's say after 1 quarter or maybe 2 quarters of the year, nobody has unlocked it, then that number drops to, it only takes 8 of the 10 editors to unlock it. And if that number goes on, then it only takes 6 of the 10, right? So the basic idea is that the funds aren't locked permanently, that eventually there's going to be enough editors there to unlock the funds and vote on what to do with them. So as far as the vision, creating a mission statement for the magazine, that's a great idea. And everybody can sign on. Maybe that would be one of the 10 qualifiers to be an editor, is that you believe in the open source vision, you believe in the ability of everybody to access any, basically the tenets of freedom, right? So we're not about creating some sort of magazine that locks people out and cuts off people's voice, right? We want everybody to be able to voice their opinion and put out what they want to put out within the guidelines that it's harming no one. So, and maybe it's that simple. The guideline be something along the lines of you do what you will, harm no one, and that's the basic tenet. There's a lot of stuff to go over to decide how this project could progress. Initially, by creating this little sketch of what it could look like, I'm hoping to create something that other people can say, oh yeah, I can see how this can be created, and I can take, once there's a minimal viable product created by an app developer, they can turn around and profit from having created this basic plug and play for creating an organization that is creating a publication. So, you know, imagine if an app developer on the SAFE network decided, okay, I want to take this idea, create an application that allows people to create a publication organization, and it doesn't matter what that publication is, it follows all these rules, and there's tokens created for this, and you know, and so on. So the basic idea here is that I'm not trying to say that this is just a SafeCoin magazine idea. I'd like it to be a template that any magazine could use going forward. And yeah, the direction of a magazine, the vision of a magazine is extremely important, right? I agree with you. And a lot of that has to do with leadership. And whoever's leading the boat, and I'm not trying to be the leader of this either. If there's 10 people who are contributing more than I do, I will not be one of the top 10 people, right? So that's another idea, is that this is a fluid organization, and only those people participating are actually in control.
On that one, Rich, I mean, have you thought about the actual process about age restrictions? I mean, are you going to have a kind of, are you going to write that into the, you know, your actual magazine, that, you know, you have to be above 18 or above 20? I mean,
no, I don't expect I don't expect SafeCoin magazine to be putting out any content that would need that kind of restriction.
Okay.
If it is, then yeah, for sure there would have to be, and in that case there would have to be some type of you know, reputation token that tells who the person is and the age group and all that. And to me, I wouldn't even want to go there. I think SafeCoin magazine needs to have any content in it that be age restrictive at all. I want SafeCoin magazine to be something that anybody can share with anybody without worrying that they're offending somebody's sensibilities unnecessarily.
Well, this is just to say, welcome David, and welcome Ahoy Daniel. How you doing, people?
Hey guys.
Obviously having some connections, but I mean, while Mr. Daniel's arrived, I mean, I don't know if you noticed this Rich, but he got listed on another trading floor, which I'm sure when he comes back he can tell us more about. Yeah. And I think it's just generally, I think it's worth sort of speaking about. We don't talk about it a lot, but you know, there's been some momentous events with made SafeCoin in the last couple of weeks, which I'm sure, Rich, you'll be happy to talk about, because you know far more about that than maybe someone.
No, in fact, I felt like an idiot because I completely missed White House mashup, or you know, I missed the token sale for the App Store. I saw it like a few hours after. I noticed on what is that, Slack, that Daniel had posted, like, hey, you know, a few more hours and then it ends, and I was like, what ends? And I'd already missed it. So you really have to be paying really close attention to what's going on in here, or you end up missing a lot of stuff.
Hey there.
So.
Hi, Daniel. How are you doing?
Yeah, I couldn't get connected. I think I don't know what happened, but I think like, wasn't there like 10 folks in here at the same time?
No.
No, because it says on my thing here, it says that it was full, so it wouldn't let me in. That's funny. Anyway.
Well, you invited 9. I saw that he invited 9 people, but haven't been 9 yet.
Well, I was just getting blocked from connecting, so I tried again, and then it worked. So that was perfect. Cool.
Well, you hadn't missed much. I just created a sketch of an idea of what a magazine or a publication smart contract setup might look like, and you can.
What was it about? So like to submit editorials.
Yeah, of how to submit. This one more so shows the flow of the income, like what it would look like. So it could. You want to throw that up again?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm in the process, Rich. Somewhere ahead of you, my friend.
So basically, there would be a smart contract, which would be a treasury contract, and basically anybody who donated or purchased publication tokens or wanted to promote content by which would basically be ad income to the publication would go into a treasury contract. That treasury contract would be split between the contributors, which are the editors and content creators, the article writers, and people creating graphics and so on. It would also go to the app developer and towards app maintenance and creation, and then also a percentage would go to a locked purse. And the content creators, which are the editors and the content creators, would be paid a percentage of the net profit as well as contribution tokens. And to the extent you hold contribution tokens, so the percentage of net received is based on the percentage of contribution tokens held by the contributor. So it's in the editors and content creators' best interest to hold on to the content or to the contribution tokens, because the more contribution tokens they hold, the more they receive of the net profit from the publication.
Yeah.
All right. And then the qualifiers to be a top 10 editor. Right, so you have regular editorial contributions, attendance and participation of benchmark meetings, and to hold no less than 1% of contribution tokens. And if you're a top 10 editor, that allows you to vote on benchmark projects, which basically unlocks the purse, which is held in a smart contract, so which is a percentage of the publication income. So that's a rough sketch of the idea of having a publication that is built on top of a smart contract. So,
yeah, so this sounds pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but you know, all the details of how that's created is beyond me.
Yeah. Did you see the post by Seneca like the other day about
about what?
About mining coins using structured data, type tags, and identifiers?
I didn't read that post. Actually, I did. I did read some of that. Hold on a sec. Let me block my dog barking. Okay. So, well, how would that work? Sorry.
Well,
One sec.
it doesn't really. I don't think you would use that for your contribution tokens, but well, actually, like, so Seneca was proposing that you can mine on your client, like from your own computer. You can mine coins that would be recognized by other people, you know?
I was just mentioning before you came on, Daniel, that I was just mentioning that you've had SAFEx had quite a momentous week last couple of weeks since we had the last ANTS meeting. You've been listed, and I don't know if you want to tell everyone more about where you've been listed, where they can find more about information about them. Basically, just give us an overview of what's happened since the last ANTS meeting with the Safe Exchange.
Yeah, certainly. We're like, I guess, several enthusiastic owners of Safe Exchange Coin. They they reached out to me and suggested that we get listed on an exchange. I said, of course. I submitted my coin request to a couple exchanges, obviously, and then on their own motivation, they lobbied the group to get the coin listed, and they invited me to the Slack and things like that, and kind of I got to know the developers of the exchange, which was great. And yeah, so I built an auto trading robot so that it's not completed in the sense that it doesn't take profit for you, but it automates the trading, so you can turn that robot on, and on the Bittrex.com, you can automatically buy at a certain price, like below a certain price, and it'll partition the position and do it over time. And then it could also sell automatically and also over time. So it's just a bot that if the price exceeds a certain place, then it will stop. But if it's in the zone that you specified, it'll keep acting. So I built that and connected to Bittrex, and while all that was going on, that was pretty fun. And then we got listed, so it was really, really great that we got listed on the exchange. because then we got right to CoinMarketCap. Versus, so if they wouldn't list us, if no one listed us, I would just build my own exchange. I would just host it on a website for people to trade, like promptly. And but yeah, nonetheless, like I'm looking forward to the cryptocurrencies on the Safe network, and so there's a lot of development in that, and I'm looking forward to like hosting SafeX Coin on the Safe exchange.
Well, I mean, while you're here, Daniel, I mean, we were just talking just before you came in about how much MaidSafe price the coin has just gone. Well, it's been on a bit of a rocket.
Regarding the MaidSafe price, I mean, it just only got its attention. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm long and strong, as they say. Like, in my estimation, that if you could buy eternal data, let's say SAFEnetwork is combined as large as Rackspace, for example, then that's not very hard to achieve. Rackspace is just it's one data center company of a normal size. So the SAFEnetwork gets a capacity like that. The cost per gigabyte per month at any cloud storage company is a monthly fee for like 3 cents per gigabyte. And if SAFEnetwork, so in that estimation, if SAFEnetwork is as big as something as like Rackspace, which is like just at the break of being large in terms of data center capacity, then a SafeCoin would be more economical to use to store your data, and not only that, it will be protected. So, like a SafeCoin's price is not even 5 cents. It wasn't 2 cents. The only reason that the price was suppressed to 2 cents was because there was a ample amount of SafeCoin that was possessed by folks who got them for cheaper at the crowd sale. So, and I think those folks realized like that, I guess with like the news of the MVP and things like that, or maybe they already cashed out plenty, that people logically won't sell for less than what they bought it for, you see? And if everybody bought it at the 2.8 cents price, then nobody would be selling for less than 2.8 cents.
Exactly.
But somehow, that happened, and there was so it's like a boon for everybody who managed to buy them that were, below the price. It was like you had a whole 2-year discount window on the MaidSafe coin. And right now we just had a hiccup over the crowd sale price. So considering like projects like Ethereum, for example, I was just realizing that using the Safe network for contracts, it's the only logical thing to do, because on Ethereum, like the problem for everybody is latency. So if you're on any blockchain system, you have a lag, like a guaranteed lag in your computation response. On Safe network, if you're doing something very small, and a lot of things are very small, I imagine it'll be instantaneous. So it's going to be like going from, it just doesn't make sense to use a blockchain. It just perfectly makes sense to just be able to harness that speed of the Safe network. See what I mean? And like to access that, you're going to need a wallet loaded with SafeCoin. I mean, not like millions. I'm saying like you're going to need SafeCoin. You're going to consume SafeCoin on a regular basis. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like in the digital world, credit cards have no place. Bitcoin is good, but it's so slow. And Ethereum has proven to be slow also. It's like when people play games today, they're not playing turn-based games. They're playing instant response games. So even something like as simple as a dice game on Ethereum, so simple game will take 17 seconds between each activity. On a Safe network, it would probably be instant. It would be probably instant because of the small amount of data required to carry out something like a bet or something like, trading an item. So then Bitcoin now didn't succeed in being a good payment processor in a decentralized world. Like it proven itself. However, it's not optimal, right? So next step, it's not Bitcoin 2.0. It's crypto systems land 2.0. So SAFEnetwork is agnostic. It'll accept any kind of data set. That was exciting when Seneca came up with this invention where you can mine coins directly from directly from your client application. You create them there, and while you're mining, if you mine something that someone already has, you won't be able to. It won't count for you. You'll get rejected. But if you mine something that no one else has, they're yours. They're right there. You see what I mean? And then you could spend them, and other people using that software will be able to recognize them. So that's really awesome. And so you could add a proof of work. You pretty much proven for us that you can have an automatic generator for coins for people using a proof of work system. So like obviously other things that are obvious to me are like things that I'm working on now is so that people can make their own its, right? So that's the proof of work there is people need to fill in the fields. They have to give it a name, description, photos if they want. So it's basically it's a smart property more so than a proof of work coin. You see what I mean? So it's phenomenal the things that we can do with SAFEnetwork, and all taking place on instant switch. Like when I want to send something to somebody, it's on an instant switch. So versus that requirement of confirmations.
Well, Daniel, I have to say, I mean, I think what made Safe are about to launch is the very essence of a live decentralized database, and I think that's the very essence of what we're about to be switched on.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm glad that there's going to be messaging at the least, because we'll be able to store the immutable data, which would be cryptocurrency, and we'll be able to message this data information. It's going to be really awesome to see this thing live and to connect this these cryptographic payload trading system. You see what I mean?
So, and the initial MVP, is this going to allow for also not just text, but also other media, sound, video, photo? Do you know?
Good question. So, I mean, I think it's limited to 1 gigabyte, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, each put is limited to 1 gigabyte. Maybe. I guess we'll try it, and yeah, we're gonna try everything. Like store a video, pull it out. So that's one thing that is like I didn't get to that yet, but that's on the to-do list so we get a video file, and that goes in a contract, and you need to send cryptocurrency of a valid format and uniqueness, and then in response you get the copy of the song. So that's a N99 contract for the music artists. So you specify how much cryptocurrency, which one, and then it knows based on which one you selected, it will know which one to accept. And so if someone sends the correct amount to the contract, in response they'll get the song.
Yep. So go on, Rich, you were the same?
Oh, as this is off topic a bit, but on the Safe Exchange, I posted a link to a place that creates heat transfers, and I thought that would be better than. This is totally off topic, sorry. But for T-shirts, we were talking about. Hold on a second. Okay, so the basic idea is heat transfers would cost less. They would be easier to distribute, to mail, and just less overhead of holding T-shirts in different sizes. And besides, with the heat transfer, you could put it on your favorite T-shirt, you could put it on a hoodie, whatever you want. So I contacted this place. I sent them the file of the Safe Exchange logo, and I'm expecting a response in the next couple of days. I'll have price points at the end of the week, and I don't know. What do you think about that? Would you rather still stick with the idea of T-shirts, or would you want to try the heat transfers?
I think I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I very much like the logo that you made.
Oh, you mean the little the design with the Earth and the connected Earth, and I don't know.
Oh, I didn't see that one, but the one I was referring to is the one with the SafeX inside the triangle. You know?
Okay.
But without the fragmentations. Remember?
Right, the one that looked a little bit more like a more solid. Okay, sorry, that was way off track, but I just thought I'd ask about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought it up.
I was just saying to Rich before we went live. I don't know how anyone of you are aware, Daniel, or any of David or Rich are aware. I mean, I know Rich is aware now. I told him. This week has been announced as a phone that's gone live in India, and they're planning to sort of launch it in the summer. It's going to cost 251 rupees, which is basically under $5. And the reason I mention this, I think we discussed roundabout in many ANTS meetings before about how to get this out to a mass population and on a very cheap level. And when I read that, I thought that was a kind of a boom moment. Whether the phone itself is ever put out live, that's another question. That's not the point. I think that the point being is that this is coming and coming soon, because for under $5, it's a way that we can get a lot of users on the Safe network. And I've put the post up, and I just wanted to see if anyone had heard about it, other than me, and how their thoughts on it, because I think it's just a very cheap way of getting many users to the Safe network.
Yeah. Wow. How much was that?
251 rupees they're putting out, which is under $5.
For a phone.
Yep.
You put the link where?
I'll put the link up. I'll send it to you. It's up on the screen, but obviously for some reason I will post it now to you. But yeah, it's called the Freedom 251. And yeah, like I say, it's under $5 phone, and it's I think it's 1 gigabyte. It's not great for farming. Go on.
Wow, just like yesterday it was announced, pretty much several hours ago. A $4 smartphone in India to ship 2.5 million units, 50 million registrations. So, wow, holy.
I just think it's it's something we discussed many times, and I was just saying to Rich before we went live. I think we discussed it because we've kind of been doing this for a long time. Many of us, that we always sort of one of the barriers to entry to the whole concept of this essence of a live decentralized database. Or the whole point of it is one of the barriers towards that was always been the expense of getting phones to people in the 5/6 of the world that we quite ego in our world called the undeveloped world. But if we can get that barrier down, which this phone to me, or at least it signals as this barrier is starting to come down, and that's what I'm saying, with that barrier coming down and the announcements that say that MadeSafe are making, I just see a perfect sort of synergy going on. And I think it's just, I wanted to hear what people felt. I mean, the question I'll maybe ask as an open question is, would it be a good idea if we had loads and loads of people using the Safe network? Is it maybe we should hold back expectations and not try to expose this as much? I mean, that's maybe an open question.
Well, I wonder, what kind of in other parts of the world, there's this idea where it's prohibitively expensive to use the data packages. And it seems to me like mesh networking is going to have to be an important part of that system in order to break through that. And in that case, also, what will it take, as far as resources goes, to have a decent stake in mining or farming the SafeCoin. If yeah, but nonetheless, you have this idea that these are going to be content creators. You're going to have people taking videos and creating music and putting it up there with their phones very soon from that part of the world. And you just never know. It's like it's going to be a lottery in and of itself. If somebody does something that goes viral there, on the Safe network, they could be earning quite a bit of SafeCoin.
Well, think about that's 50 million registrations, 50 million new people, or maybe some of those people already have phones, but it's practically, you consider new people getting a smartphone. You see what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised now they have access to like virtual reality and stuff. I mean, it's amazing. Like for $5 that they can get this phone. Like, you don't even need to be online to make videos. You don't have to go online to make videos. You can go to Wi-Fi for 5 minutes to make videos. You don't have to be eternally connected. I don't think.
Well, I just posted an article which I think kind of, relates, Richard, what you just mentioned, really, and it's an article about a gentleman in India, and he's discussing this very point about why India the speed's so slow, and the point he was making that there are certain companies, telephone providers and internet providers, that if you can get 30 people within a 300-meter radius, they will provide you really fast internet, and it brings down the price. So again, there's already these solutions already coming up to these problems. So that, I'm sorry, you just mentioned that, Rich, and it kind of pulled me to a thought that I read this article this week, and I thought it just lingered so much with what you said.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's discussing a different facet, the speed. But I was thinking more so the cost. In other parts of the world, you have just the data packages are just so expensive. But that'll change.
You don't need data packages.
Exactly.
Yeah, you go to Wi-Fi, man.
Right.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that's true. Like in general, in America, people buy data packages for like $200 a month. Like, no one else does that. Go to the Wi-Fi. You go to the cafe. Even for your phone. No one keeps their heartbeat connected to the SafeCoin price. You know what I mean? In any place except the United States. So it's like, I even ditched my phone. I ditched my phone. I don't even want a data package. Yeah. So like, yeah, Wi-Fi. That's what people will use, and there's a community around using Wi-Fi. Like, there's like cafes in San Francisco that would be that people go to just to work on stuff. Just like, you can meet people there, collaborate on things, perhaps, because someone's a coder. People put stickers on their laptops just to fly the flag for what they code about, and like, yeah, I mean, a lot of Bitcoin people are there on a regular basis, like, so yeah, seriously, I think that's an amazing boon for the population of India, and hopefully that there will be some kind of outreach that they get to know about the Safe network. That would be really helpful, I think, because you can access Safe network easily from the phone. I'm not sure about farming, but you can definitely access from the phone. And I think that's already valuable. People gain information and stuff. And yeah.
I mean, I think it's the perfect synergy, because I know that that right now the perfect synergy is that they're not a generally centralized country compared to China. That's a very generally empirically centralized kind of culture. America, you're seeing what's going on. There's a general battle between the freedom and the centralization going on in America. But in India, they haven't got that internal battle, and they've got an Eastern philosophy, and the great advantage that India have got, they're all speaking English, and that's why I'm thinking like, wow, this is a real moment of what we're witnessing in front of our eyes. Cheap phones, ability to connect quite easy, SafeNet, coming along with this, And you think, wow, this is all, you know, and the Indians have the great advantage, which is a really big advantage, and let's be real about this, they can speak English. Because a lot of people having to, as we right now, the reason we're having this conversation, it's not being done in Mandarin or in Hindi, is because the people writing it are writing in English, and that's an advantage that the Indians have. And I think it's something that I think a lot of the world concentrates on about what's going on in America or what's going on in these parts of the world, and maybe it's something we can sort of maybe, you know, put a lot of focus on, or maybe, you know, spend some energy focusing on about a continent of people that, wow, look at the tools that are going to happen. We can, you know, it's like Daniel said, imagine that many people just using it. We have to worry, farming will come next, but it's a lot of users that are intrinsically, you know, like I was trying to say, have a synergy in their culture that would be quite, you know, useful and helpful for them. That's the reason I mention it.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to unleash a hell of a lot more coders in the world. And you probably saw what I posted over here on the right, codevalley.com. Have you looked at that, either of you?
No.
Somebody was posting something on other projects in the Safe Network, forum.safenetwork.io, other projects, Safe Elastic Ether. And this codevalley.com is a really interesting project. They haven't got it off the ground yet. I think there's like another month before they get it off the ground, but their goal is to industrialize coding, right? So basically making it to where coders can create. Are you looking it up right now? I won't go that too far into it. Let's just say that it creates a great platform and opportunity for coders to link with other coders to develop together, you know, in a synergistic way. And it made me think, if something like this was done on the Safe Network, could be a real boon to, because they're going to use Bitcoin inside of this codevalley.com concept, and something that used SafeCoin just seems like it would work so much better. So if you're coding for the Safe Network and earning SafeCoin every time your app is used, and if you were a contributor to this code that is being used inside of this app, it all gets divided accordingly within the app itself. And it just seems like it's a much more fluid idea if it was done on the Safe Network than what they're doing with Bitcoin.
Well, especially as Daniel was mentioning earlier on, we have the, you know, it's live. It's no lag involved. You know, it's decentralized and it's live. I mean, that's
how it's supposed to be. It's how
exactly.
decentralization is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how Code Valley is going to pay out. It sounds like they're paying out like just per, not in a residual income kind of fashion. It's more so straight up, you know, here's this money for this project, and then a group of, you have like a lead code developer who's working with many other developers around them in different parts of the world to finish an application. So anyway, it's worth looking at, and it just seems to me like something that would work so much better on the Safe Network.
Yeah, I think that's basically, Rich, is the old, you know, what the Safe Network's the answer. What's the question, man? I mean,
It's better than. But, I keep throwing the conversation.
so no, I mean, you know, like I say.
But you're right.
Like I was saying, I mean, there's
in India is fascinating. You're right. This is this moment that you can't really quantify what's going to happen when you put this creative device in the hands of so many people. That, you know, when it comes down to the Safe Network, this little device that connects you to the internet is no longer just the one, whatever it has in it, 1 megabyte or 1 gigabyte. It's probably 1 megabyte. It's going to be, if it accesses the Safe Network, it's accessing global computing power. And so you're really putting a very powerful device in the hands of a billion people right away.
And that was the kind of, you know, playing devil's advocate in the sense of the word. But I was asking, I mean, would that be favourable, or, you know, your thoughts on, you know, say it did take off? Let's just take a scenario where you know, this phone goes live. It's snapped up in record numbers by amount of Indians. They find out about the Safe network because of whatever. They all, you know, and then I don't know, come later on this year or whenever, we've got, you know, 10 million people all jumping on the Safe network. Do you think is that viable? Is that good? Is it, you know, these are the questions, because we're getting to this live moment, and these are the real questions. Is it something we just want a few people to come in at this early stage, or do we go out and just tell everybody? And I don't know. I mean, from a testing point of view and a code point of view, what's better? Loads of people to flood it, or just a few people to test around it and test its limits? That's, to me, is a live question.
That's a really good question. I think a lot of people won't have too much attention to generally just, you know, use it all day and replace their current systems. But I think most of us, more enthusiasts, will certainly put it into our flow. Like, for example, Kim, let's say we wanted to share a photo, you know, like some spec or something, or Rich, you wanted to share that document. We would just message each other the direction on the Safe network, and because the three of us were connected, that'll be no problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, for sure, I can't wait to put it into my regular flow.
Exactly. So in reality, I think we should. I think I don't think we have to do anything more. There's already, you know, I would mention that the last Tuesday, the developer update announcement, there were 2,700 new visitors to the forum, and usually there's only 1,000 visitors on that day, on that very day. So that in and of itself will just present the enthusiasts who will adopt the Safe network. I mean, same thing like how people used IPFS. You know, like, you know, people can also use the Safe network in its format, in the format of the MVP. So we get a network file system, and we can, in my estimation, we can store videos and under a gigabyte and pictures and pull them up and see them. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've said this many times, Daniel. I mean, this is where you broke a lot of ice with the Safe Exchange, because that's now given a lot of inspiration. I mean, Rich was mentioning it earlier on, to people say like, wow, this isn't just talk anymore. You can actually raise funds and put out something and start to build it, and you know, and this is after something I was trying to say. You were the guy who broke the ice first, but there's a lot more coming behind. I mean, as Rich was saying earlier on, I mean, even this week, I mean, the Safe App Store just blew up. It went bang, and everyone, like Rich was saying, he missed the sale, and it was. This is what I'm saying. You breaking the ice, you know, Daniel. Is a lot more people are going to just follow that steamboat and follow you through, my friend.
Yeah, I mean,
because, you know, the truth is, so many people want to see this succeed, and they know that it all depends on the app developers whether or not it succeeds. It really does, and if the app developers,
I mean, that, for me, that's a no-brainer. You know, like my part of it. In my estimation, all the credit goes to, I mean, in terms of getting this all connected, is to MateSafe. You know, like. And I would admit, like, I could have, instead of doing a SafeX, dove into the networking parts and things like that. Yet, I feel like I felt so strong that I would be able to manage this, because, like, that's what I was onto from when I began exploring Safe Network, and its utility. You see what I mean? So, like, I wanted to not break from the road that I started paving. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because even commits to the core do merit a financial incentive. You see? However, like I mentioned, like, I feel like I've gained so much experience and focus on making the exchange that I shouldn't just drop that, because there are many more capable people on the MateSafe team who are, you know, dedicated to getting the Safe network launched. So, like, I have no I have no doubt. You see what I mean? And and I appreciate the trust that I've received to deliver a part, that would make people's lives enhanced through that safe network. You see?
I have no doubt, and a successful safe exchange release is going to put you in a situation where you have the trust of the community, and I love the idea that this is off SafeX instead of Safe Exchange, because that X being a variable, SafeX can go on to do smart contracts. It can do all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be just an exchange.
Yeah.
And
So on that thread, like, now that I got started coding, and it's really generic code. I mean, like, I'm looking forward to all the developers of the planet Earth just learning from the process of creating a script for cryptographic manifestation. Like, the process of making a digital token is just a process of making a cryptographic script that can be interpreted by someone else with the same software, but then where do you store it? You see, that's the thing. You can make all these cryptographic valid scripts, but then where do you store it? So they had the blockchain, and that's where they store cryptographic scripts for Omni coins, Omni protocol coins, like MadeSafe coin, Safe Exchange coin, Scenario, for example. Then Bitcoin, it's a database of scripts. You see what I mean? Those cryptographic scripts, and within the script is the criteria for validity. So it's like you need to have the name, the date of birth, and the ID scan, and that means it's a valid script. You see what I mean? And if any of those are not valid, like if you put for your name not a name, not letters, then it won't be valid. If you put not a number for a quantity, it won't be valid, obviously. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, like, I meant, like, it's obvious, so you should know. So then Safe Network is the next step. So now we could take this cryptographic script, store it on a Safe Network. Other people can then retrieve that, interpret it, and see if it corresponds to them. Yeah, and that would suggest that it's a valid transaction, or a valid cryptographic material. It's pretty simple. Well, yeah. I mean, if you research this stuff, there's so much information, and so many great things to do. Like you mentioned, like smart contracts. Like you came up with a treasury contract. So basically, it's going to be just writing these contracts, like demonstrating how they're done, and getting them as simple as possible for people to understand, so other coders can readily do them.
Yeah, and just template contracts. If somebody says, "Wow, I like the way that decentralized publication works. I want to do that too," they can just go over to Safe Exchange and say, "Okay, I'm going to buy this for whatever 20 Safe coin, and now I get to then set the fields inside of this contract."
The next templates are fine, because those are great at first, like from my perspective, because people can use them right away. But what I imagine is the next step from there, which would be where people can program their own contracts. So, and that's done by just exposing more, I say, like, you know how you have a wrench, and there's different size wrenches?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be great if we had smart contract wrenches that just take any shape that you need, right? Like any size of that wrench. Imagine that wrench was amorphous and could be any size for any bolt you need to use it on.
They make a wrench like that, and in fact, I just bought one on Geek. There's an application on Android called Geek. I was telling Tim about this earlier, and what it is it has a cylinder, and you put it over the bolt, and then it has all of these little tiny pins, and the pins form a shape around the nut.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So imagine you had a word that would do the same thing for whatever for a specific case would be like, you want to sell a book for X amount of SafeCoin, right? So the wrench would let you change sell to buy, or change book to computer,
Hmm.
and so that you could keep going after that. You could give it rules like if the book is less than 20 safe coins. You see what I mean? So
Hmm.
like people could program their own, and then like no need for how to say a fixed template. You know what I'm saying? Like if you give a wrench that could do that, that could adjust itself and allow you to adjust it to whatever you want it to do, and include if statements and things like that, it would make people smarter. It would make life more certain, like because you would never be how to say like you would always be within the parameters you wanted, and the flexibility of having a language to allow you to do that just thoroughly enhances life, in my estimation. So it's like, yeah, so that's the next step after this templating um, stage, let's say. So like people can still do things, still do the use case through a template, but then to evolve from there to take like to embed it into a word that just people can type a word, put a value, type some more word, put some values, and that would be like the next step in the smart contract arena. You'd be able to program your own treasury bond at will. You can copy and paste it and then just change the variables, like people do with contracts today, like paper contracts. You'll just copy and paste it and fill in a name, different company, things like that. So, except those are more complicated. It's like a wall of text. It's like a whole 10, 20 pages or whatever. Whereas we can, with cryptography, we could guarantee ourselves the incomes of our digital realm with several words, with just several words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, boom. I mean, think about it like this. Imagine you had a contract on the Safe Exchange that when certain criteria were met, and go back. Like I'm sorry to repeat it, but you go back to the Indian one. That once a certain part of that contract on the Safe Exchange, once a certain parts of the contract were filled, boom, there you go. It's a farming for the winner of it, almost like a raffle or a lottery. These are like I was trying to say to you, and I told you this many times. We're about to fractalize, and like you said, Daniel, there's so many things you can lock that wrench to, whether it's a word, a piece of artwork, whether it's like I say, this happens and someone gets farming equipment somewhere. It's gonna, like you said, Danny, it's gonna free up the whole world, and it's gonna be momentous. And I think you're right. And uh, the wrench idea is fantastic, because I mean, would you be able to take that into, like you said, not only just words and stuff, but could you replace that with say a note of music, or I mean, could you add that wrench to virtually anything that's able to be put in a bit form?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah, I missed the last 30 seconds
No,
of
I was just going to
the thing.
say, your wrench, could it, I'm trying to say, in theory, as I understand that from what you were just saying, that means that in anybody who has any data that can be put on a bit, or, information can be, transferred between computer, whether that's a photo, that's what I'm trying to say. Could that be done with music? Could it be done with, in time? Is it anything that can be,
Anything you store on the safe network.
wow.
Yeah. Any
Wow.
kind of content, anything at all, completely. Yeah, that's why it's
Oh,
exciting to me. Yeah, because it could literally be used with anything.
man, that's, wow, that's incredible. Well, I've just seen I don't know if I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Rid. If you can hear us, my man, welcome to the conversation.
Hey. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, my friend.
Uh,
do we call you Rid, or is that you know?
Red is perfect.
Perfect, my
Sorry
man.
for sneaking in and not saying hello, but I didn't want to interrupt.
No, it's all right, my man. I'm always conscious that people are sat there, and I always want to be welcoming because that's the very essence of what we're trying to be in the thing. So, I mean, just out of interest, are there any thoughts on what we've just been talking about from your perspective?
Oh, sorry, I missed a lot of what you said because I did stuff. And to be honest, I'm very, very tired and not so concentrated right now.
Yeah, man, I know what it's like. It's 1 o'clock in the morning over here, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, just a sec. I gotta reconnect because it's very fragmented. Excuse me.
No, that's no worries.
Ah.
So, no, I mean, so, Rich, is there anything else particularly that you got on your mind and you want to mention because while we're here?
Ah, nothing special. I'm just wondering, does anybody of you know when the installers will come out?
Well, Danny's probably the person to ask here because so Danny.
Yeah, you
Danny?
can. If you follow the GitHub, you can see what issues the developers are working on. So I think the last thing that I read. Hold on.
Yeah, on GitHub I did
Yeah, if
see.
you look at the GitHub feed, so send only one new peer per peer, TCP connection, bootstrap connections over UTP. So to me, that's exciting. Connecting computers together. Yeah, that's good. So we'll see when it is. So it looks like close. It looks like very close.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, connections over UTP. Yeah, that's good.
What?
Obviously, Danny's having really bad connection problems. Sorry,
Can
Rich.
you hear me? Hello?
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 No, I'm struggling.
Oh, shit. No, that's getting very loud.
I'm sorry? Can you hear me?
Daniel, if you can hear us, my man, it's
I can
we're
hear you.
having. Okay, well, you kind of like sound like you're from the 1930s, like coming through on a time machine. So I don't know if it's just my end, but is everyone? Can everyone hear what Dan? Or is that just me, or is everyone struggling to hear what Daniel's saying?
Oh, I think I understand him perfectly.
Oh, okay, it's just me then.
Cool. Yeah,
Rich,
yeah, I'm really excited about it. I mean, because it's like, I mean, it's the closest we've ever been in the whole world, to finally having the SAFEnetwork launch, It's just, and like, I'm here making Bitcoin keys and making scripts for unique cryptographic payloads. It's gonna be so much fun to just like send a message and that's a coin, and it's instant for what's to come. It's just so exciting to me.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, can't wait to put it on a GitHub, like maybe a few more days. And the thing is, I want to be able to also do the song. So like to make a coin is one thing. Just to produce a script to make a coin is one thing, but to take the song and then redeem it with a coin, redeem it with that coin. So that'll be like, because then to make an item from there, that's easy. So so that's what I'm really excited about. Yeah.
well, I personally got to say, I think the essence of what really excites me at the moment, and I think it's been reiterated by you, Dali, is the very fact of it's alive. This thing is, there's no lag, and I think for someone, maybe not has as depth knowledge as someone like you do about the Bitcoin and stuff, that lag thing compared to the live issue is a really big step
it's
forward.
like, imagine you're talking to someone, and you have to wait 10 minutes between everything you said. It's just, we don't do that. You see, we're on this hangout because of what our computers allow us to do. So let's use that for our value transfer. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And why? Because we're already using something like this for our value transfer, but it's slow, and like it's just slow. It just isn't. It's obvious. I mean, everybody understands and agrees, right? So SAFEnetwork, I think, is the shot on the goal to get it done. I mean, who cares that you could do 100,000 transactions in 10 minutes over the course of 10 minutes, or even 1,000,000 with 10 minutes in between? That's not what the issue is. The issue is that it's a 10-minute lag from start to finish. That's what a SAFEnetwork solves. Not only that, though, like Satoshi Nakamoto even postulated about these things too when he was introducing the community to Bitcoin. He was saying, imagine that a single proof of work would apply to any of the blockchains, where a miner could generate proof of work, and that proof of work also applied to other chains, so that the miners can do the work one time and also lobby for their coins on multiple chains that do multiple different things. And Namecoin, which was the, I guess, decentralized DNS, the blockchain. So that was the project that motivated Nakamoto to make these comments. SAFEnetwork is that answer. SAFEnetwork is the agnostic database that a single activity, a single resource proof and validity is all it takes to make sure that because the data is just a payload. It doesn't matter what's in it, and it gets delivered to the correct recipient, and it stays alive in the network, and ready for when someone needs it. You see, so this is it. I mean, this is the solution for cryptocurrency, for the whole crypto economy, for everything. The databases for decentralized purposes. It's just like, yeah. And Rid, I don't know if you noticed I was talking about it earlier, but Seneca posted about how to mine coins personally using the mechanics of the SAFEnetwork. Did you see that post?
No, mining coins? You're talking about Bitcoin mining? Or
No. Proof of work mining.
proof?
Proof of work mining, where like he didn't get to that part, but like I hope I could talk to him about it later, or like in the near future. Is like, okay, so you do proof of work, right? And then what you do is you hash until you get a certain type of hash, right? And that usually takes a certain amount of time, depending on what the criteria are for the hashing. So, what you have to hash and what the result has to be, and that will give you an estimation of how long it might take to guess the answer. So you can have an algorithm that lets you generate coins on your desktop that you can use in the SAFEnetwork as long as you made a new one. So Seneca proposed this. Essentially, you make the first coin and you give it the highest value that you could ever have. So let's say it's 1,000,000. So what that now means that for the number 0 to 999,999, you can mine those. So it's up to the people to pick a target and then try to mine it. If someone already got it, you can't get it again. So what does that mean? It means you have a distribution that doesn't require a third party to do the distribution, and you can estimate how many coins an individual might get. So like, let's say you have a Macintosh at home. You can figure out how many coins every person would get if they all had a Macintosh and did it 24/7. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Not everybody's going to do that because it's resource intensive, like extraordinarily resource intensive. You'd have to dedicate your computer to that. So that's the thing. And with that, like imagine you made it, you only get 1 coin per 10 minutes. But that 1 coin is enough to participate in something. See what I mean? So you could run your computer overnight and then have all the coins to enjoy your discussions for the whole month. You see what I'm saying? So like that creates like you know, if you use those coins as part of like, you know, adding content perhaps, like, or voting on content, so you can get a more accurate amount, and they're renewable. You see, and you could limit their supply if you want. You could unlimit their supply, and just make it very difficult to get them. So that's exciting. That's really exciting because it's decentralized distribution of coins. It's perfect. It's brilliant. Yep. Very, very glad. Like that was amazing. Like very elegant. Yeah.
Yeah, that could lead to very sensitive using many cards of different kind and different properties.
Any property, and so easy to distribute it. You just set your parameter, like, you know, whatever the criteria you decide you want it to be for your coin, whatever time, whatever size, right? And I'm sure we can figure more things out as we gain more experience with how this works, you know, and more so how it looks on the Safe network. I imagine that we're only at the early stage. No matter how grand it sounds what we're doing, we're gonna realize a lot of amazing other things in the process. That's what I imagine. Indeed. One thing I wanted to mention is like perhaps maybe the MVP won't be because it's hosted by MateSafe from what I understand. So hopefully there's enough resources there so that a whole globe can connect. You know. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah.
Wait, this not with distributed walls all over the place. It's only connect MVP. Oh,
Right.
what
Right.
yeah?
Yeah. The MVP I thought I read was, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I missed the thread, but I thought there, since there's no farming, it won't go on our computers. It would only stay on the.
I thought it is without farming, but without farming because you don't get coins.
Oh, okay.
Storage is for free then.
Yes.
Or well, maybe I have no clue. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But nonetheless, like the architecture for messaging and things like this stays the same. So,
yeah,
you know, all the fun still happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the transaction time issue, that is one thing that annoys me so much about Bitcoin, because I remember my first Bitcoin transaction. I was so nervous because it didn't show up, and it took, I think, half an hour till the transaction went through. And all this time, I mean, it was the first time I used this technology. I thought, oh shit, maybe I did something wrong, maybe it just doesn't work. And I mean, when it's instant, that's so much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar experience.
It would be
Disappointing, kind of, you know, or like the Earth didn't have an earthquake, you know, when it happened.
yeah.
But that inspired me to know that there has to be something else. That did because 1 month later I learned MateSafe. You know, like I learned about MateSafe. Like seriously.
Yeah.
And just knew from that first experience with Bitcoin that SAFEnetwork is where it's at. You know, like that's exactly really how it happened for me.
So along the lines of an exchange, would somebody be able to basically lock some Ethereum inside of the SAFEnetwork exchange, the Safe exchange?
So it's interesting. You can take a private key to Ethereum and lock that. That's what you mean.
Well, so if you have a platform where you're trading Ethereum on the Safe exchange, I imagine this is going to be done in such a way where you personally you are kind of out of the equation, and it's just an algorithm handling the exchange, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there's an escrow, sort of like an algorithm escrow situation.
Yes,
And
there's a matching. It's like you'll post something, and if it matches what someone else has already posted, then it will be filled. And if there's nothing else, then it'll stagnate in the network until someone fills it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit similar to what I've seen on some of the other exchanges, like I think BitShares and NXT have something similar, even Counterparty, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's very much like Bitcoin inspired. The only difference is we have the agnostic database where we can put pictures and we can put private keys, and we can make it take the private key and use the private key. You see, like we can sign transactions, put them there. We can check if they're still there. You see, like we could check if a transaction is still valid. Things like this.
Are you planning, like say in your example of teacups, are you planning on some kind of reputation system that's being developed right now? Maybe, I'm sure there's open source reputation systems being worked on right now, so that people could say, okay, I see this person has fulfilled this many contracts and they're this reputable, and you know, are you planning on using some kind of reputation system?
Yeah, so to include variables like pointers that would lead to some kind of meaningful presentation of a reputation system, but so like it's pretty much a no-brainer to say, like, okay, after a transaction you want to get feedback, and you can imprint that feedback. So yeah, why not allow people to store information about their experience, right?
Sure.
And then derive a reputation system from that? Absolutely. And the great thing is that we can always add information. We can enhance the user experience. I think a reputation system does just that. It enhances the ability for people to make better decisions. Just
sure. Like, for example, if I'm selling teacups and I put a home phone number and, you know, or whatever, my cell phone number where you can actually reach me, that imbues a shitload of comfort, because somebody can call up and say, oh, I'm speaking to a real person, and we're going to do change on the SAFEnetwork. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think even was a pretty cool story is like even MadeSafe, when they posted the crowd sale in 2014. It's almost 2 years since then. Pretty awesome. But he said, yeah, I bought because I called the office and they were real. So, you know, that was the catalyst. Like, he was like, perfect, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So same thing. Like, if you have a contract and you have your phone number, then that should give you a reputation point, right? And people should be able to vote on that, say it was a valid phone number, you know, like concluding a transaction. So you should be able to vote on all this shit. I mean, imagine this. You did a transaction with someone, but they put a fake phone number or one that didn't work. You could downvote that phone number. See what I mean? You can. So you have now. So right now, to validate a phone number, you have local bitcoins. You know, like, I mean, for example, in local bitcoins, they validate right now with a they send you a text message, and then they validate for you. Local bitcoins validates for you. It's a third party. Just in an example. So imagine on the decentralized network, you put your phone number, someone calls, it's not you, they could downvote that, even if they had a successful transaction with you. You see what I mean? So, and that way, you don't need a third party to validate. You have the distributed parties. to validate your phone number. You have each other to, you know, kind of depend on that. You know, you'll vote for information if it's valid and downvote information that's invalid. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I think, I don't know, that's just something that came to my head today, just now, while we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not planning to use this. I heard from it two-party escrow. This zero knowledge two-party escrow thing used by, oh, I don't remember how it was called. The Open Bazaar, like Open Bazaar, but online only for Mac, I think.
Is there a GitHub?
I don't know. I have
Now I'm consuming lots of information about contracts, scripts,
one moment.
lots of different platforms, how it's done, or rather how they're doing things. And so yeah, GitHub is great. If you got a GitHub link, open Bazaar. But what else?
Or GitHub.
Yeah, no, it is not
You're
Open
talking
Bazaar.
about something else, yeah.
Oh, I see. The reputation system there. The zero knowledge proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Party escrow.
When I heard of it, I thought, hey, that's brilliant, because it should work.
Yeah. I think I heard. You know, it's just the opportunity to game a system where you can say where you fulfill a certain amount of orders and you gain a certain amount of public trust, and then you screw, you know, the last person on the edge.
I can mention something. I've seen a system that I've considered quite often was like this. If you want to trade a Bitcoin for, let's say, 100 MadeSafe coins, right? You could chop that Bitcoin into 0.01s, and you can trade 0.01 for 10 MadeSafe coins. 0.01 for 10 MadeSafe coins. You're going to argue that there's a transaction fee, but let's just consider it for a second. If you have a robot that will execute that distribution to handle that trade, you have a very minimal risk problem where if someone funds are unavailable. You see what I mean? Like, you send a 0.01, they send you 10 MadeSafe coins. You send another 0.01, they send you 10 MadeSafe coins. If they interrupt that process, then you don't send any more 0.01s, and you only lose $1 or whatever. You lose $4 instead. And so that's an interesting way to do it, you know? But it would take a long time, obviously. But what we're talking about is a decentralized exchange where no third party was involved in doing that trade. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's certainly something to consider because I would say it's adequate. I would say that there's better solutions, but it's an adequate one, worth implementing if nothing else is invented for transferring Bitcoin for another currency. You see what I mean? And another thing that I haven't had a chance to look at, but Bitcoin supposedly connected a relay between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Study to see, you know, how that went down. Yeah.
Well, that works for crypto and something that's divisible, but not so much for real-world items. It seems like there still has to be another way for that.
Well, real-world items are manufactured not by computers, so you still need to get a delivery address. You know what I mean? It's like until the day that there's some kind of repository that takes packages and you show up and sign off a package with a private key, that's like, and maybe a parcel company invents something like that. You see what I mean? Some company becomes a parcel company, the decentralized parcel company. See what I mean?
Well, that sounds like something that needs to happen pretty soon. That sounds like a really good business opportunity.
I would add it's probably costly, and I would add that someone could probably get it started with just one location and still potentially earn enough to grow that. Yeah. Like
right.
there was some kind of city that has a lot of participants in decentralized. Like, yeah, I'm not sure which city that would be.
Yeah, probably something central like St. Louis.
Mumbai.
I'm thinking U.S. Sorry, I'm being U.S. centric here.
Well, I think, yeah. Sorry.
Well, yeah, obviously
Edinburgh.
yeah, Edinburgh. Everything's on GMT anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is, people want to get delivered to their doorstep, you know. So you'd have to provide that kind of service. You'd have to become some kind of, you know, parcel company.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't see why UPS can't do that. They already pick up parcels from people's houses and deliver them wherever they go. But you're saying, like, where there's no third party, that it's anonymous or something, I guess. I guess I'm not thinking that it should be anonymous, or not that it should be, or I'm just not thinking about it as an anonymous thing. Like, obviously, you're getting the parcel to a name or to a private signature, you know? So, like, it would just mean that the parcel company just takes a private signature.
Yeah, no, I'm not thinking about it as anonymous or not, because I look at SAFEnetwork as being, you know, the businesses that build on top of it that aren't anonymous. You know, there's going to be more of those businesses than there are businesses that want to remain completely in the dark, which, you know, that's fantastic too. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of teacups. You know, nobody's banning teacups, and as far as I know, there's not like some big tariff on it on any country. But the problem, I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of delivering the object, not looking at it from any, you know, legal
So
standpoint.
the contract takes the fields, name, address, and SafeCoin. And
Yeah.
you know, the name, address is just treated as, you know, send you the teacup that you ordered.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
it's a lifestyle, you know. Like, I drink a lot of tea. Like, I drink 2-3 pitchers of tea a day. So, like, and like, I really thoroughly like this thin glass. It just has a really good feeling to it, you know. Like, it has a crisp taste versus using like a porcelain or something. I think it has to do with like the purity of the material. Like, a clear glass has no impurities. You see what I mean?
right.
And, so, like, yeah, I mean, life is good. You have tea, alpha brain waves. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
That's
just,
cool.
yeah. So naturally, like, I would thoroughly enjoy, like, you know, distributing that. You know, like, and prove a use case for the Safe Exchange.
Right. So you already have a manufacturer you're looking at?
I have an ideas for the teacup. Like, not ideas. Like, I know which teacup I know I want folks to that I want to bring to the world. You know. And,
Is this like Rex or something? Is it like a thin? And now you have me curious. Is it like a? I used to have my favorite coffee mug. Used to be one that had it was like had air pocket inside of it, and it was a really thin glass.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? So you don't burn yourself when you pick it up, but it's really thin glass.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention. I'll show you it right now.
All right.
Yeah, you see? Just like you described. You must have known.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. What's the name of it? The manufacturer. I've seen that before. I used to have one.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I found these
I think it's BODUM.
no, I found these at just some random shop in San Francisco that stock these.
Yeah, no, I love those. Yeah, I'm pretty. Bodum makes it, or at least they make a type, and I'm sure there's others manufacturing it.
Yeah. Yeah, this glass is great. I would just be, curious if it's possible to have it a little thinner. But overall, I'm very pleased. Although one did crack, like it it just knocked over and just immediately cracked, I guess, because it was on a granite countertop. You know what I mean? So I think any glass would break if it tipped over. So
Sure. Well, you could probably here. I'll post this. This is the name of the company that creates that type of glass. But I bet they buy it from other other sources themselves.
yeah, I have a tea brewer from Bodum.
So on this one, while we're on the glass discussion, I mean, have you considered other like porcelain? I mean, is that I can see the Dali Shala porcelain cup, the Dali, the pitcher, the towel. I can see a whole whole industry here, my brother.
I mean, if there's time for all that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, porcelain's good because porcelain is good if it's the very pure one, you know, because I sincerely believe that when you pour hot liquid into, if it's not a high purity of glass, then, you know, like it has dirt or something in it, then when you pour a hot liquid into it, I think it really does change the taste. Because I thoroughly noticed the complete difference when I'm drinking from like, you know, like a typical mug that just has a printing on it, you know, and it's just like, you know, some company mug, just bought it for no reason, versus like, and it's not even expensive. Like what I'm talking about is just like, it's not even an expense. It's just like instead of having that cup, you have this cup, you know, with a pure taste of tea. So when you pour a hot liquid into the regular mug, even coffee, even like you said, like it's double glass, so your hand doesn't burn, and you have that glass, and it's great. Yeah.
And this is the great thing about what we're about to enter. You know, we've got this decentralized database, and like you were saying, like you were just discussing, all these things can be bought and sold, and you know, I mean, this is, I mean, the reason we're discussing this is, I think, it just really plays into the whole essence that things are about to change big style. And this is the whole point of this conversation, that there are many manufacturers around the world. Many, one of the things over here in England, I mean, for all you know, particularly rich and you daddies, over here in England, there are a lot of industries that all went lost because everything became centralized, and it's one of the things that I think the world needs to wake up and realize that as much as they don't want to discuss it, the world right now works in a certain way because there are a lot of people in this world that are working for under $1 a day, and this is where this whole conversation is around, but that's all going to change, and we're going to give people who've got these craft skills the ability to make some resources and get resources back for the skills they've got. And I think it's one of the things I've been talking about for a long time, Daniel. I think we need to get people into the mindset they've got to learn to start being creators and producers rather than just expecting everything to be done for them in a way. And I think this is all ties into what we're going to do, because once we open this database, that's there, and especially because it's decentralized, that people can trade. That's just gonna.
People will be united.
See, exactly, man.
It's like this safe network literally, in my estimation, connects the like all networks. Mm-hmm. It pretty much allows that to happen, because think about it. When you store something in India and you want to retrieve it in the UK, you're accessing it through a safe network, and it could be anything from anything in the entire globe that's going to give it back to you when someone stored it in India. So this is it. This is going to close the walls. Like the digital walls will be diminished, and integrity of people's activities will remain.
Exactly, and you add to that, which is what the whole theme of this is, the live aspect of that, and there's no lag involved. Man, it's just what I'm trying to say. These really are, and I say it many times, that these are the greatest days to be living in, and this is what, because of this, the time lapse and the ability to do things live. These are steps forward, and we've always said it, step by step.
Yeah, people. I think people in general. Specifically people who know about Bitcoin and its shortcomings, I think would be refreshed using something like SAFEnetwork. And then I think that that's important to new adopters of decentralized technologies, because they will not come on and say, "What is that? I thought the Earth was going to shake," you know. And people don't have to be like how to say, overly excited. You know what I mean? Like they can just accept the shift. Like instead of using iCloud, use the SAFEnetwork. See what I mean? Like instead of using Rackspace, you know, figure out your app for SAFEnetwork. So I appreciate that we have the chance to present to the world a something people can actually enjoy using versus you know, other texts. You know, they brought it up. They brought the attention for what is necessary to be built, and I think that the shot on goal is the made safe.
Yeah.
People will really like this.
Yeah, you know, and you know, and I think the other strength that you know is you know, this very essence. This has been done built over a long period of time, and it's been a real step-by-step walk through this. You know, we correct it, we make some fundamental changes, and you know, I mean, anybody should know that. You know, the switch from C++ to when we introduced Rust, all of that we could, you know, it's all been step by step. But the great thing is about it, this is a reflection of nature itself. We're building up that colony, and it's done bit by bit, and we're not trying to rush out projects and show the world and stuff. And I use the analogy. It's why did VHS beat Betamax? Betamax was a better product. Most technically, people said Betamax was actually a better product. VHS won because it went out there and it just got the job done. And that's what the SAFEnetwork is going to do. Because you know,
that too, like with the fervor that because didn't really even notice what's going on, and like I don't know how word got out, but you know, people started to read about the SAFEnetwork, and it just had a chain reaction, you know. And then the price, you know, correcting itself, you know, back to its higher range, you know. Like it was there a year ago, but so take that for example. A year ago, the price went up with about 200 bitcoins of volume. I mean, in the whole months that it went up, maybe 250 bitcoins of volume went through, about $100,000. Now to put that into perspective, in the last 2 weeks, MadeSafe has been trading like on average $600,000 a day. So the price has risen, and volume has increased dramatically, and like so only in my estimation, it's just only this is like where SafeCoin, you know, like if you were to take the price and the amount of capital voting on the coin as a measurement, then people just kind of started reading into all this content from a year ago. You see what I mean? Like a lot of content has been figured out and presented, and now there's plenty of resources for people who are just learning about MadeSafe. A lot of people probably learned about Ethereum, and then exploring Ethereum found things about MadeSafe. That's a regular thing that happens, and through all kinds of avenues. Like musicians learn about it. I hear on Twitter, and one artist is, you know, looking forward to sell artwork on Safe Exchange. That was amazing to hear from someone who I didn't even I wouldn't have ever known, you know, and to be able to have that impact that someone recognizes, someone perhaps not even well versed in what Bitcoin does and like how it works, but they can understand from reading the content about the SAFEnetwork, things about the Safe Exchange. They get the picture of that, and you can't rely on SoundCloud. You can't rely on these centralized parties because they're too expensive. They have operational costs that are virtually unnecessary. Like if you're an artist and you chose to be free from, you know, like tying yourself down to not impersonal contracts, but you still want to sell your art, then it makes sense to use something like the Safe Network, because you don't have to become a subscriber. I mean, you don't even have to subscribe to the Safe Network to use it. See what I mean? Like, you just post your pictures, sell them on the market, but it's not a centralized party that you're subscribing to. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, unlike with SoundCloud, you have to keep them in business to keep yourself in business. It's just, and then you have to share everything, and you're just one artist. And like, that's what Safe Network eliminates. It makes it efficient, more easy to use, and gets the job done. And with this instantaneity, I think people will find it far more enjoyable to use that because of the ease. And then to spend them, now that's another story, how to spend SafeCoin. So like, Bitcoin has paved the big road, and I think the fact that Bitcoin is hard to get, SafeCoin is normal to get, that, like, because SafeCoin is more, it's more horizontal. Like, more people can get at it than with Bitcoin. And so that will mean it'll distribute farther, so many people would be able to have heard of it in the first place. With Bitcoin, you hear of Bitcoin, but you can't get them. You have to buy them. It's nonsense. With Safe Network, you'll hear about it, turn on your computer, and you'll get some, for sure. You'll probably surely get some if you keep your computer running, for enough time until you get them. So that's also going to be making a huge difference in how people perceive the crypto economy, what it does for people, because it's the digital part of things. It's a digital part of life that Safe Network addresses.
And equally as well. I mean, you just mentioned there. I mean, the ease of use. I mean, that alone is one of the great things about the Safe Network. And again, one of the things that I think is under mentioned and I think needs to be flagged up more is, Rich mentioned, you mentioned it earlier on, Daniel, you just mentioned it again there. It's this whole idea of only one sign-on. This being the real world. I mean, how many passwords have we all got? Countless of them, countless. That world's about to end, and these are, things we take for granted because we've been balls deep in this stuff for like 2 years. You know what I mean? And these are big game changers for the world out there. And as I think the other thing you mentioned there, Danny, was that, in the world out here that's going on, and I think the reason that you mentioned it in regards to the Maytag coins, there's so many projects and there's so many more coming. We mentioned some tonight. There's other projects. We know there's more and more and more. So we haven't even started yet. That's what I'm saying. We're off to the moon, and we better hold on tight because we're. This is, as we all know, this isn't controlled by any one human. This is just a ride, and we better strap ourselves in and hold on tight because it's about to take off, one way or the other. And that's the great thing about it. It's not under any human control, and it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at the Black Halo that Red posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting project, and so I don't know how far they've gotten. I don't know if they. I know they were looking at creating a decentralized market, and I came across something that BitShares was saying that they hope they implemented it inside of BitShares. I don't know. What do you know about it, Rid?
I thought they had finished their market, but only for MacBooks, and you can't use it with Windows or Linux. But I don't know much more. I just read this article and I thought it's genius and nothing more. I don't know much, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm going to take a good look at it later, and I also wanted to mention, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, of course. I thought that might be interesting because with escrow you always have to trust someone, and this someone maybe doesn't he might not have a clue. You can't know if if this parcel arrived or if it didn't arrive.
Correct.
With this two-party
Along that line,
that's not a problem. Pardon?
along that line, I was thinking one of the most important features going forward is going to be an oracle of some kind. And I was wondering, Dally, if you've looked at any of the projects that have to do with oracles.
No. I mean, I think about Augur. That's probably the only Oracle one I can think of.
Yeah. And I don't recall the
How
name
about
of this
yourself?
project. Well, there was I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about, I think it was a coding group out of Spain, and they're working on an oracle that basically references all of the major websites. Like, say, if you're, for example, if you're betting on something, right? So it would reference, if you're betting on the NFL game, it'll reference the NFL website. And create an API that somehow draws information right off of. If you're betting on anything else,
Yeah, so
I'm not looking at.
familiar with those. Yeah, absolutely. Something like that
Yeah.
where you build an API and you connect to that server. Yeah, absolutely. So I think people would be able to certainly give a destination to an IP address or a domain name on the I guess like the ClearNet, as they're calling it lately.
Okay.
And I'm sure you could request, feedback from the API. But the thing is that it's unreliable. The API is unreliable. You don't know that server is going to be up. You don't know that that they're going to be around tomorrow. It's like the SoundCloud problem. So to address that, you could have a distributed. You could build an app that polls people, for a response. So I think Augur's like that. You own rep and you vote on, and if you're a rep owner, you vote on the outcome of an event and you pick the winner, and it's like a month-long process or whatever. And if you vote the wrong way, you lose your rep, and it goes to the people who voted correctly. And you could do that. You could just distribute an app and plug into that app's immutable data contribution to the network or its structured data set. You see?
Sure.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, that's great. The thing with oracles in general, it always requires you to rely on some kind of because it's from the real world, right? So you're going to rely on some crowd. You're going to rely on some kind of sensor. Like, let's say you wanted to, if the sun is shining, send some coins. So you'd have a sensor, at the zip code that you wanted, and then what if a cloud goes over and it's not sunny, but it is sunny, so it's cloudy, so you can write an algorithm. If the sun passes, if the clouds pass and block the sun at a certain pattern or whatever, so obviously it's a cloudy day, so you send half a coin or something, just thinking out loud here. And so things like that. But then someone has to maintain that sensor and plug it in, and so you can say, okay, this decentralized app collects information from the sensor that I produced, and it's up to you to trust it. You see what I mean?
Sure. So what Augur's doing is a lot more important than I think a lot of people realize, because if you can create a community of people who verify facts that are getting paid to do it correctly, then all future decentralized systems can go to that community to basically find what they consider truth.
Yeah, exactly what you said. I did consider on a lot of levels. You know what I mean? Like, if people come up with decentralized oracles all over Ethereum, we can easily connect with them, and like that's a lot of fun to me. You know what I mean? Like decentralized oracles over there. I mean, like I said, you could connect to anything you want. Like even with the API to some website, like I said, you could connect to the Augur API, or you can gather the data from there. You can, if you have rep in a wallet, you can even have the SAFEnetwork open up open up a betting on Augur and collect the results and have that part of your contract. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess I did think a lot about it.
Sure. I figured you did. It seems to me like that type of system, if somebody decides they want to be a merchant on the Safe exchange and they're selling things, and they can also go through certain hoops to be verified by a Oracle community that says, yes, this person does live here, this is this person's number, this is this person's name, this person has not had any transactions that were considered false or egregious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And you could choose like on an app case basis. The world is your oyster on that one. You know what I mean? Like whatever you'd like.
yeah. So Augur. Wow. I've heard about it, and I've listened to like the developers talk about it a little bit, but it's just starting to set in how important their position is going to be going forward.
Yeah.
And
I think I was gonna say like as those systems become more understood, kind of like not understood, but like they are used in mainstream more frequently. That's when more will emerge. You see what I mean?
Yes,
right.
exactly.
No doubt. I'm sure IBM is looking at oracles in a big way. I was thinking about, and of course the best person who's in the best position to create an oracle, no doubt, is Google. That's sad to say, but it's true. But also, I was thinking, I lost my train of thought.
Google, Olga.
No. Yeah, well, I was thinking about Augur before, and I was wondering, is that so? Have you been following that since it started?
After I met the developers at Collision Conference in 2015, that's when I became aware of their project. So that was before the crowd sale, and I thought it was pretty interesting. At exactly that moment, I only understood it as a betting app. Like people basically just throwing their posing bets and voting on the outcomes. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but took it more just only as a betting app until I read a lot more about it in October. So that was when they were making a crowd sale, and I guess that was like the best time because a lot of the content about Augur, I guess, was like more clearly conveyed. Let's say, it'd be the opportune time to read about it.
Yeah, because a lot of things can rely, like you said, on the weather. So if you had people who had their little weather stations out that on their home that tell you if it's rainy, it's stormy, whatever, you basically, I'm thinking of logistics, like large businesses that rely on getting their products to you, whether it be UPS or FedEx. They're looking at weather. Okay, how much snowfall has landed here as opposed to there, and it just seems like it could be a really smart way going forward for.
Well, imagine this. Like on Wall Street, people would watch a Doppler radar over, let's say, Brazil, and depending on how much rainfall would be, that's how they would determine whether to buy or sell commodities.
Right.
So imagine farmers could tap into a decentralized weather thing, and people who are growing crop could communicate that information to the globe, and farmers could understand what's happening and adjust accordingly, so that when the yield is on the marketplace, they've already hedged against the adverse price fluctuations and and the windfall, but it's at a cost of the windfall or some portion of the windfall if conditions, so adverse conditions, meaning that there would be a windfall if there's a scarcity, and there would be a windfall profit for the farmer if there's scarcity of their produce. And
Right.
if there's abundance,
market.
well, I was going to say that if there's abundance of that produce, it's possible that they can lose.
Right.
That their produce could rot. It could go wasted. So if farmers wanted to participate in like a weather arbitrage on a global scale, they could effectively eliminate their risks. So no farmer could go out of business. Yep.
Do you a commodities trading market, a decentralized one? That wouldn't sit too well with the with a lot of people that are higher ups, would it?
Yeah, I don't know because it doesn't have to be with the red, white, and blue. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
which higher ups? I mean, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
no,
talking
I'm just
about.
like the commodities market in Chicago and whatever. So
Yeah, but there's commodity markets everywhere else too. So
yeah.
it doesn't have to go there. It doesn't have to go where people are difficult to deal with sometimes. Let's say, and it's to their disadvantage. Now I can't really comment all the way on that because I didn't approach a commodities exchange and see about this at the time. At this moment. But I'm just trying to say that people are at an advantage if they're eliminating their risks, and so even if they're not trading commodities, they can still learn about this information through a safe network, through an oracle of let's say the decentralized farmers, and they contribute to their little weather station, and they say they're growing 6 acres of corn or they're growing 6 acres of wheat, and then that weather gets aggregated, and then you can figure out the risk of a crop at every corner of the globe, and you can factor the price. And that's a step in the direction of understanding how much resources exist on the Earth.
Yeah, one step closer to a super efficient global market for everything. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, wouldn't you enjoy discovering that there's exorbitant abundance around the planet, and it's just access to it is what's difficult?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the fact. That's a damn fact that there's abundance of resources around the planet for keeping people alive, housed, clothed. That's renewable. I mean, it grows out of the ground. So I'm just saying, that's what makes sense to me.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm gonna head out here. I'm really glad
That's
we were able
cool.
to talk.
No, it's been as ever. I want to extend my thanks to particularly you, Dally, because for making the time. Because I know your time is precious. To my brother Rich for usual. To Red, man, it's been great meeting you tonight, my friend. And again, you're always more than welcome. As you know, this is every 2 weeks, so the extension is always there. It's been some great insights, so I want to thank you particularly, Rick, tonight, man. And I just want to extend a thank you to everyone out there tonight, man. It's been a very inspiring conversation, and I think the like Danny was saying earlier on, we have to step into some very exciting times because this whole new decentralized database and everything is all coming on live, and it's just we as I said before, I mean, I think this is a really sort of pull this conversation back into the human level. That when we're old and we're sitting around when we're old men, these are going to be the days we're going to look back at, and we should always remember that. When we get in this life we live, always remember that to enjoy the moment, because the moment is now, my friend, and it's that's all I want to say. So I don't know. I want to say thank you for your time tonight, and like I say, it's a bit late over here in Scotland. So for me in Scotland, same life is people.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you too.